think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?
Perhaps I was talking when I should have been listening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another season with MC Motorsport, powered by MCSR. Tonight we find ourselves at the very beginning of a new season after what was an amazing first season of MC Motorsport with the GT3s. It seems like months ago now that we crowned our very first winner here at MC Motorsport with Miles Bond taking out the GT3 Championship. But we are back to do it all over again. We've reset the points, we've opened up the invitations, and we've got a whole new lineup of drivers joining us tonight for the first round of 6 weeks of Super Formula Light racing across a variety of tracks, and we're certainly going to be thrilled by the action tonight on track, I have no doubt, as we learn a little bit about all of these new drivers joining us and see just what their styles are like in amongst a fairly packed field with a lot of names coming from GT3 across to the open wheelers as well. So stay tuned, we've got a lot on tonight. My name is Jared Cole. I'm joined tonight in the commentary box by Mitch Hobbs. Mitch, welcome to the team, mate. Good to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. Really looking forward to this one. Super Formula Lights look like a good little bit of fun, and I'm sure we're going to see some really close racing here at Suzuka for round one.
Yeah, look, absolutely, don't doubt it at all. We've got a lot of qualifying times coming in just at the moment, and the field is tightly condensed, let me tell you that. It'll be very interesting to see where they all end up on the grid. But let's have a look before we get to that point at just what we've got ahead of us this evening at Suzuka. And I tell you what, as far as opening tracks go, I don't think you could ask for much more than Suzuka International. Just shy of 6Ks getting around this track, but 17 turns packed into it. It's got everything that you could want in open wheel racing. It's got tight technical sections, it's got flowing corners, it's got some long straights with plenty of opportunity for getting in the draft and overtaking. And we've got basically perfect conditions tonight, Mitch. I'm pretty keen to see how this track holds up.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. The air temp's nice, around 20 degrees. Track temp's not too hot, so drivers probably don't have to worry about tyres, of course. We've got 2 races here tonight. Of course, we've got the first 20-minute sprint race, and then we've got the later, you could almost call it the feature race, I guess, of 40 minutes with that reverse grid. So definitely going to be some good racing here, especially in that first sector where it's nice and twisty. You're not really going to want to go side by side unless you've got balls of steel, is probably the best way to put it. But there's going to be a lot of slipstreaming down towards 138, which I think could actually hinder a couple of people just getting too much speed in there and carrying too much. We could see potentially one person, maybe a couple of people in the wall. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one and pray to the racing gods that no one does that, because I don't want that.
No, and fair enough too. Now here's a new feature for us this season as well, and I'm keen to get your predictions, because mine are pretty firmly set in my head. Tonight's going to be the first time that we've seen the use of the built-in iRacing safety car, as opposed to some live drivers just sitting in a safety car waiting. So with that in mind, how long do you reckon it's going to be before we see the first full caution around Suzuka here tonight?
Well, look, you're probably asking the wrong person, to be quite honest. I'm not a true iRacer myself, but I would say, if there's probably one person that ends up in the wall, or maybe 2 people that even end up spun, I reckon I'd say there's going to be a lap 1 safety car, or minimum a caution. Just thinking it's going to come out, and I think drivers are really going to be pushing. It's round 1. They really want to make a showing here, and I don't think they're going to hold back. So I reckon if we're through by lap 1 without a safety car, that's an achievement in itself.
Mate, I'm really happy to have you here tonight. Usually I'm the optimist, and it's good to have someone else who's even more optimistic than I am, because my pick was by turn 7 tonight, honestly. I don't think we're going to see these cars get through that series of S's without someone coming to grief. It's going to be a very interesting lineup of drivers who have been, used to battling each other in GT3s, but tonight find themselves instead in open wheelers. You just can't get away with the sort of contact that you can in a full body race car, really, can you?
Well, no, and look, I can speak from experience here, not from an iRacing point of view, but from an ACC point of view, because that's where my background is, having done esports in SRO esports and things like that. It's you can get, especially at Suzuka, you can get nice and tight in the GT3 cars. You can risk a little bit more going side by side, not necessarily during the early turn 1 to 7 where you think you might see the safety car, but a little bit later, through down towards Degna 1 and 2. So you've got a little bit more of a flow in the GT3s than I'd say than you would in a Super Formula, because they've got the aero, but they've got that little bit more power, but then there's less grip, and there's a whole lot more to sort of take in. Where you've got the GT3s, you put your foot down, the TC's there to help you, you've got the ABS as well, and you've got a little bit more of a car to use. You're not gonna put the suspension so much on the line like you will in the Super Formula. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I dare say, if the drivers can get into a single file formation by early in the first part of the lap, I think we might steer clean that one. But I'm not going to keep my hopes too high.
And look, you've touched on an important point there. I think tonight's going to be the first time that we're going to have all the drivers in exactly matched vehicles. You see in the GT3s, there's always that bit of variation between the Porsches, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the Audis. They all bring their own little bits of unique handling and engine characteristics to the table. Tonight, it is all down to the driver. So very excited to see what we get when it is really just down to driver skill. Plenty of entries tonight, though. We've got ourselves with looks like, I reckon, 27 entries for this evening's race. So without any further ado, let's have a look at how they're lining up after qualifying. And no surprises for me to see Scott Bartine at the pole position after racing with him a little bit over the weekend. This man is fast from everything simulated racing. So to see him up on the start of the grid there is no surprise. Now keep in mind our first race is a 20-minute sprint, followed by a 40-minute race with a reverse top 10. So plenty of opportunity for other drivers to find themselves up at the starting end of the pack in race 2. But he's joined there by Douglas Gowans, and then Bradley and Fahey take out the second row, with Johnston and Pocock in the third row, 5 and 6 respectively. Further back in the field, McLaren and Depp from Velocity Racing Team. We've got Mitch Curry, Andrew Lydon in 9th and 10th. Loretti and Tesoriero rounding up the top 12. Followed up by Philho, Kalman, Wilson, Ward, Ryan Palmer from ADHD Racing, and Chris Philippou rounding out the 18. We've got Matthew Neal and Josh Harris, the other entry from ADHD Racing. Newen, Speck, Hudson, Maloney, Nankervis, Milliken, Bowman, East, Minette and Edwards rounding out the 31. Now I will point out that Pete Minette and Isaac Edwards are part of our race director team. So we're still ironing out a few of the kinks here in terms of getting them their spot without showing up on the grid. But with that, I reckon it's about time that we take a look and get ready for some racing this evening. What do you reckon, Mitch?
Oh, look, I'm not going to complain. It's going to be nice to get familiar with most of these drivers. I do know 2 of the drivers on the grid. I've driven against them both, but we're about to get ready here as the lights go red. 5 lights, and we're going to wait for them to go out here for round 1 at Suzuka for the tournament. We're away here. That's a good start from Bartine. We're going to go about 5 wide down to turn 1. I don't like the look of that. Couple of cars getting the tyres nice and warm. Bartine going nicely. Gowans holding good through turn 1. Let's have a look turn 2. Let's go 3 wide, they say. Well, that's fine with me, I guess, but no incidents as of yet. There's a flurry of liveries throughout the field. Someone's going blinking through there. I don't recommend that one. And he's appeared again. I would be absolutely bricking it if I was near that person at the moment. Nicely through there. No incidents as of yet. I think they'll get past turn 7, Jared, without a caution or a safety car. Let's hope they do, and they do. Now up to Daniel 1. It's a really technical section here. You've got to hit a good part of the curb. You don't want to hit too much. You bounce the car into the dirt. It's a nice, clean start. Are we going to get through that one, Jared, without a safety car? I bloody hope so.
Look, it's a bloody good start, isn't it? And to see everyone straight into that single file, it's almost like we've learned something from the crash and bash. As someone spins in the background, who's that that's just gone? Is that Josh Harris? Has found himself turned around. I think he's just pushed a little hard on cold tyres there, but thankfully it doesn't look like... Look at that. There's the safety car out.
I knew I jinxed it. I knew it was happening.
Well, look, we almost got a full first lap out of that.
We got further than you thought. We didn't get as
true.
far as I was optimising we might have, but that's okay. We'll take a caution and a safety car. That's okay. Just a little bit of spin there for Harris. Yeah, the cold tyres, this is actually one thing that throws me off when I do iRacing, is you've really actually got to work the tyres in slowly. You can't just send it like you can in the game that I'm used to. And I'll probably refer to playing ACC quite a lot in the next 6 rounds, but it's an interesting comparison to look at. Of course, ACC doesn't have the open wheelers, but out comes the lovely Porsche safety car, and Bartine just going to hold back, and the safety car will come through. Oh, gee. Oh my God! Someone's in the wall on the safety car.
That's Tristan McLaren, who's managed to spin it there in the seat. I'm not sure what's happened there.
I think it was a bit hard to tell. I thought that might have been he almost rear-ended somebody. I couldn't quite get an eye in on who it was, but it looked like he might have potentially tapped someone. If not, I reckon he might have locked the brakes even and spun it round, but I think he's going to have some damage on the front wing of his car. But at least all the cars that we said before, all the cars are even, unlike the GT3 series, which hush hush, it's coming back for season 2 in about 6 weeks' time, which you'll actually see me on track for rather than in the box. I'm just going to leave Jared on his own.
Hey, look, why not? And I will absolutely make sure that we pick up every single one of your off-tracks.
No,
always
let's
a
not
pleasure.
do that. Let's not have a look at all. Is that there's a car there without a front wing? Who's that?
Is that Tristan? No, we've got someone else.
Is that Tristan? I can't tell. Yeah, someone someone's not having a fun time with their aerodynamics. Let's put it that way.
Look, who needs aero on an open wheeler anyway, really?
I don't know. The drivers?
Possibly. That seems fair. So it'll be interesting to see. This being the first time we've really had a proper iRacing controlled safety car restart. It's going to be really interesting to see just what happens when we do get back to racing conditions. Now, I'm not actually sure what we've got this set for, what Race Control have set the number of pace laps for here, but I'd expect we'll probably have at least 2 pace laps before they do go green again. That said, we'll get updated as the lights go out. Let's see if we can take a quick look back and just try and figure out what exactly has happened to Ryan Palmer that spun him just a little earlier.
Okay, so looking through up towards Dunlop, it looks. Oh, I think he's just
big contact there with Ian Ward. So, and look at that right front hanging off. That's not going to.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that. That's not healthy. That's not healthy at all.
Just from what I saw, I think it just Super Formula. I think Palmer just might have pushed a little bit wide, maybe on the power a little bit early, and ran a bit wide into Ward. I think, which has caused that incident. Just nicked probably the rear left from what I saw. But am I right in thinking the lights are gone out? Are we going racing already? Whoa!
Entirely possible. Let's just have a look up front here and see if we can get a quick look. It could just be that I've got some work to do on these overlays, though. To be fair, we're just testing out a couple of new setups, and this is one of the joys of not really having live race conditions to test things just yet.
Lights are still on the car, so maybe we're going around again. It's a bit. Not too familiar with the iRacing safety car myself. We'll see it pull in if it's not going. Yep, staying out again. So I think this is going to be a familiar sight over the next 6 rounds. Of course, round 2 next week is at Portimao. That's going to be quite an entertaining one. But then, of course, we've got the classic circuit Spa up at round 3, Fuji round 4. My goodness, I'm not prepared for turn 1 there. Let's just not even worry about that. Hockenheim round 5, though, I think that could be quite an entertaining one. It's a nice technical circuit in the probably the last third of the track, maybe last half, and the first bit is just a lot of those straights and really getting in the slipstream. And then, of course, round 6 is a driver vote, so we won't know what that is until much closer to the end of this season. And it's going to be a very exciting one. But, of course, we've got to just under 14 minutes left here in race 1, still under the safety car conditions. The drivers getting the tyres nice and warm, want to keep them in an optimum operating temperature and optimum pressures as well. They don't want them to be cold on the race start. And we can see a couple of drivers actually coming out of the pits as well. So maybe there's a couple of drivers that had some damage, but
yeah, I did recognise one of those as Ian Ward. I'm pretty sure, so he will have repaired that bit of damage he picked up in that earlier collision. But I think. If we have a quick look, Ryan Palmer's managed to get out of there reasonably quickly as well. Ian Ward, though, found himself sitting in the pits there for just shy of 5 minutes, getting those repairs. So hopefully that towing time hasn't set him back too far. He's only a lap down at this stage. So I guess the safety car doing its job in keeping the field reasonably close even after those incidents, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to hopefully bunch everyone back up again for the race resuming lap, which I would hope is this lap. Of course, we're still under safety car caution. Coming around to the hairpin. This corner can go in the bin. This corner is extremely painful. You've got to get the right line. It's just absolute nightmare in any car, let alone super formulas with the no traction control. Would have been a bit easier in the GT3s, of course. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the open wheeler Super Formula lights. So hopefully it'll be good to see how Scott Bartine goes off the race resuming when the safety car comes in. Douglas Gowans is going to have to keep his wits about him. And of course it'll just stay single file drivers don't have to go double file like they do on the race start, of course. So maybe we'll see some positions made early if drivers catch the others napping. I'm certainly not going to put it past anyone. It's just sort of going to be focusing on the cars in front to see when they take off, Jared.
Yeah, and look, I actually can't recall exactly how we've got this season set up. So, that's on me for not having the research time in this evening as to what we're expecting to restart. I'm wondering if we are actually going single file or if it may be a double file restart. But in either case, I think we might still have another lap here. Now, who is it there that's blinking in and out? I want to try and catch a race number because I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Looks like Lam Nguyen, actually, who might be having a little bit of a connection issue. Yeah, certainly is. All right, we'll keep an eye on the number 12 car there, and hopefully that doesn't bring us another safety car too quickly afterwards. Yeah,
I don't like that. I think the stewards will probably have their eye in on as well, just keeping an eye on the connection of the drivers. I think.
It's something to
stay out by the looks of that. So we'll stick it out another lap here, and hopefully it comes in on the next lap. But
there we go. Safety car lights are out, so this will be the restart lap, and I'm pleased to say that our broadcast overlay is actually telling us what I was hoping it would. So there you go. We're not looking too bad. Now the thing to note here is that we've had a huge response in terms of the number of drivers that have signed up for this Super Formula Light Championship this time around, and there are a couple of names that I've seen in the practice sessions coming into the start of the season who do seem to have a couple of those little blinky issues popping up from time to time. So it'll be interesting to see if that does actually play a part in any issues this evening, and whether a ruling has to be made on that down the track. But I think we've got to be pretty forgiving, being the opening round. Let's just see if it does actually have any impact. So far, though, the accidents haven't come from any drivers that are experiencing that bit of connection issue. So it's part of the joys of sim racing, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Not everyone's going to have the most perfect connection, of course, other than the safety car. That's just unfair, I guess. But
cheating, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, cheating. But yeah, look, it's, perfect ping. Can't go better than that. But yeah, at least it's only one driver at the moment. They are sort of in amongst it, a little bit further back in the midfield. Probably lucky to not be in around sort of the area where you've got Loretti, Tesoriero, and things like that. It's probably not the worst place to be, a little bit further back of the midfield. Still up quite a few positions from the start, but hopefully we'll see some good racing back on the restart here when the safety car decides that it's had enough and wants to come in. We're going to be about halfway through this race in terms of time. Well, over halfway now. I've had in my mind it was 15 minutes. It's 20. I'll learn to maths eventually. So Scott Bartine currently leading this pack. Douglas Garrans is behind. Bradley's in this one. Fahy's in as well. Johnson, Pocock, Curry, McLaren, Loretti, Liddon all in here in the top 10. So we'll see how this mixes and matches in the next 8 minutes. The drivers will have plenty of fuel on board and plenty of tyres to use now, since they've been stuck behind the safety car for a good 3 or 4 laps now. So it's really going to be a proper sprint to the finish, Jared.
Yeah, absolutely is. And, we talk about this first race always being a sprint race. The thing they've got to watch for here is making sure that we do actually get away cleanly after the safety car, because the last thing any of these drivers will want to do is end up in another safety car period for the remaining, 7.5 odd minutes of this race. The other thing they're going to miss out on if that does happen is an ability to really get to grips with the track in today's conditions, with the track temps and air temps being what they are. So here's hoping that everyone does take it easy as we come around.
No, now you've jinxed it.
I know I have.
Yeah.
But look, it makes for great replay material, if nothing else, doesn't it?
It does, but it also makes me very upset when people do silly things and bin each other. So, what's the trade-off?
Yeah, look, it's all good viewing regardless, I suppose, as the safety car lines up to come back in on this lap. Scott Bartone will have control of the pace, but we'll see. I'm just keeping a close eye there on Greg Bradley and Darren Fahey just behind him, just giving themselves a little bit of space there perhaps for the run to the line. As we get ready to go green again, the safety car is off the track. Scott Bartone holds control until the green flag.
Yeah, so he could go at any point here that he wants it. He's gone. Oh, and he's caught Gowan's napping too. Bradley was onto it, and I think Fahey was as well. Great start from Bartone. We're going to go too wide into turn one. I don't really like that idea, but let's do it anyway. They say no real issues as of yet. Bartone's just absolutely pulled nicely through turn one there. Gowans has pulled back in a little bit though. Maybe keeping that mid-corner speed up a little bit higher. Might have some warmer tyres, can hold the grip nicely. Up through the S's. Going to come towards Dunlop now. It's a nice little section. Dunlop's a really difficult corner. You want to get on the power as early as you can, but not run too wide. Not really going to be a huge problem, I dare say, with cars of this type of area. Through Daniel 1 and 2 now. Oh, that's Bartone and Gowans at Degner 2. Okay then. Rightio. And we're going to see the iRacing safety car again, aren't we?
Look, it's entirely possible at this point. We'll see what the stewards decide with only 5 minutes left in this race. But that was nasty. That wouldn't have been what either of them hoped for there. And certainly taking them back far enough in the field that it's not going to help them on the restart with the reverse grid either. That's not ideal.
No, they are not in very good spots here. Probably hoping to have come out maybe a couple of positions up to, as you say, get the advantage on the reverse grid race 2 top 10, of course. But I don't think anything's going to come at the moment. Currently, Kalman is in the hot seat. Tesseriro not too far ahead as well. Gowan's down in 15th from 2nd. That's a 13 position loss, and I don't like that very much. But Bradley's fighting hard with Fahey at the moment. Pocock's just probably want to be one of the people that just sits behind and maybe waits for a mistake and see a train of about 5 cars behind. I think Loretti's involved in that one. And Fahey looks to the outside. Bradley's going to want to push Fahey as far out wide as he can. And gives him just a little bit of a warning that he's there on the inside, but pulls through nicely and comes through to the first part of the S's in sector 1. Pocock's still sitting in nicely. Curry not too far behind.
Bradley locks it up and hands it over.
Yeah, and just serves that one on a silver platter to Fahey, and now he needs to run away with it if he wants any chance of holding on to this one. Only just under 4 minutes to go here, so I dare say it's only 2 or 3 laps left. And we'll come through to Degner 1 and 2. Nice technical part of the circuit. Don't use too much of the curb in these cars through the first section, but smash it in the second part down to the hairpin. Matthew Neal currently sitting in the hot seat now in P10. Tesseriro's gone up as well, Lidden up as well. A couple of drivers moving up and down the field here.
And important to note, Scott Bartone's just made his way back into the top 10, so that's going to set him up nicely for the second race if he can just hang in there a little longer as well and hopefully rescue some points out of what was looking to be a really good first race for him.
Yeah, it's going to be one. I think he'll just be looking for 10th or maybe even 9th if he can. He just wants to be on that front row, I think, is the sort of the aim, unless he wants to push through further and get some extra points. I'm not too sure what his plan is, but I'm sure he's got something in mind.
Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that because Matthew Neal's managed to wrest the spot back from him again. So a hard-fought battle as Bartone finds himself on the outside line into that corner, but takes the spot, and Matthew Neal gives way and lives to fight another day, which is probably not a bad decision at this stage, let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Nankervis just losing a couple of positions there. Newen just bouncing around a little bit with his connection. Maloney's also looking a bit threatening with Neal and Bartine. Looking for that 10th position. Bartine doing well to sneak back up into the top 10. Callan's sitting comfortably in 9th, but Bartine's right on his heels at the moment. Liggins not too far ahead. Tesseriro already. They're all in this little battle pack at the moment, which is great to see. Hopefully some good, clean battling with these only select few laps left.
Yeah, and as we look towards the front of the pack, it's worth noting that Faye, Bradley and Pocock have absolutely pulled away, opening up a almost 3 second gap to Tristan McLaren in fourth. So these three, if they can hold it together, as Bradley locks up an inside wheel coming into that hairpin that you just love so much there, Mitch. He's hanging in there. He's really pushing to get that number one spot back. But he'll want to just take it a little easy at this point, I'd think, and guarantee himself some quality points.
Yeah, I think Bradley's doing the right thing here, just looking to sit in behind Fahy, maybe get the slipstream, but Pocock's aware of it. McLaren's 2.7 behind, so I don't think there's going to be any threat from him coming up to 130R now. A nice fast corner. Oh, Bradley looking to the outside. If he's going to do this around 130R, that is great if he pull. Oh, my goodness. That is going to be a fantastic
Has he pulled
move.
it off?
Oh, he has.
Oh, jeez.
He just closed the door on Fahy, I reckon, by about half a second there. If he'd done it any later, there might have been some. He has done so well to pull that one off. That was a great overtake around the outside of 130R. That's scary, and he probably needs a change of underwear, but that was great.
Fahy's got the aerodynamic advantage down the straight as well, so an opportunity to go around the outside and take that spot back as they push side by side, giving each other plenty of room though, which is good to see. Although coming close there, and with iRacing's net code, oh, there it is. Oh no. Well, it had to happen, didn't it? It had to happen. Those two were absolutely going at it, and it's cost them both dearly as they try to rejoin, but find themselves well down the order, well down out of the top 10, and they'll be starting from the back in race 2 as the rest of the pack flies past. Meanwhile, Scott Pocock still has a second clear of Tristan McLaren, and looks like he might, if he can just hold it together around these last few corners, walk away with a nice little win for just keeping his nose clean.
Yeah. McLaren's 6/10 in. He's going to be in the slipstream. Curry's probably looking to try and stick the nose in here. Loretti, I think, is out of it at the moment, but got Tesseriro probably in for the fight with Loretti, so I don't think he'll be able to attack, but yeah, if Pocock can just keep this one nicely, I think he's got this one in the bag, but the slipstream's going to undo that if he's not careful.
Yeah, he'll have to start taking some pretty defensive lines just to ensure that he does hold on to this spot, because McLaren's made up a lot of time now. Most of that probably Pocock losing just from staying out of that wreck, but that's got to rattle his rhythm as well. Thankfully, he doesn't have a whole lot of race left this time around, so gets a little bit loose through the chicane. just perhaps trying a little bit too hard to hold that advantage, but it's not going to matter in the end. He's going to take out race 1 in round 1 of the Super Formula Lights, and well done, Scott Pocock. He's managed to avoid all the trouble, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, just a bit of luck and keeping it clean and just letting the other drivers battle. Obviously, we weren't expecting 2 separate incidents causing the leaders to crash out, but that's all part of the racing. So good overall racing there, some real good wins, and Hayden Calden's going to take the P1 position with the reverse grid for race 2 for the 40 minutes. As you look, Pocock takes the win with McLaren in P2. Curry takes P3. Tesseriro in P4. Loretti in P5. Andrew Liddon there, nicely done in P6. Scott Bartine, great recovery there after the incident with Gowans earlier for P7. So he'll start 4th in the race 2. He's going to be
can't be disappointed with that at all. So.
And now iRacing's given it.
Yeah, look, iRacing does that from time to time. Give us a moment while we just do a bit of a reset here.
Ah, lovely. That's
there we
better.
go.
We can continue.
Yeah, we can continue. We can pick right up where we were.
Let's have a look. Neil in P8 there. Solid performance. There is Gowans. So that's still a really good response there from Gowans, and recovery after the incident with Bartine. He's going to start on the front row of the grid for this race 2. But Hayden Kelman is going to be on pole after taking P10 in that first race. So it's going to be an interesting one. We've looked further down. Tom Maloney, P11. I'll annoy him after this race saying that he could have had pole position for race 2. He's one I do know very well, having raced against him. Jamie Nankervis takes P12 Lamb Newen in P13 there. Johnston, Depp, Harrison, Palmer, Philippou, Hudson and East in the top 20. So some good performances from them. Robillard in P21, Bradley and Fahy, unfortunately, after that crash, had to sort of wait for everyone to go past P22 and 23 respectively for them. Spec in P24, Philo in P25, Ward P26, Booman P27. So good overall race. Just a bit unfortunate, Jared, for the two separate incidents for the lead.
Yeah, and look, I mean that's part of racing, I suppose, is the drivers do need to try and just, I guess, find out a little around what the limits of these cars are. I'm sure all of them have put in a bit of track time leading up to the start of this season, but nothing quite compares to being wheel to wheel with somebody and knowing just how hard you can push it through some of those corners when you are too wide. And unfortunately, a couple of them found out it doesn't always go to plan if you do get just a little caught up in all of that. So we'll see if we can take a quick look back at some of the events that we did see in that first race as we wait for the drivers to just complete their little warm-up before we jump into the 40-minute race. And this was the moment that it all came apart for Bradley and Bartines there. But you know, all in all, to get out of that with no significant damage, yeah, it's cost them a lot of track position, but it could have been much worse. They could have found themselves right at the very end of that pack as a result. Although I don't think either of them are probably going to see it that way.
There's probably a little bit of tension there, but anyway, yeah, only a bit of track loss. Let's have a look at this crash for Brian East. Oh! All right. The rear end just said, no more aero for you. Righty-o. Yeah. I think the car ran out of talent there and keeping it on the track. So nothing huge other than probably just a bit of tyre wear loss. So I don't think anything to worry about here. But of course, an interesting thing to note, Jared, for the race 2 is from, if I read correctly, the fuel tanks are limited to 50% in these cars.
Absolutely is.
So we're going to see a pit.
Absolutely is. So, yeah, look, expect, I think, at least one pit stop, honestly. I don't know if any of the drivers will be looking for 2 this evening, but, you know, stranger things have happened, I suppose. So we'll have to just wait and see what this race brings in terms of pit strategies. I'm thinking... Look, I'm not familiar enough with the Super Formula Lights, I'll be honest, to really know what a half tank is going to get them around a track like Suzuka. So it's going to be a bit of a learning experience.
Further than 20 minutes.
Further than 20 minutes? Well, there you go. That's something.
Yeah, I think at an educated guess, these cars are pretty good with fuel. I reckon they'll get probably 25 to 30 minutes, would be my thought. But of course, at least it gets them past halfway into the race. So it may allow them to mix up the strategy a little bit. If they can get to the 25 minutes, they might be able to, you know, take only 15 minutes worth of fuel, or they might just go half and half, or full tank and full tank, or whatever, and mix up the strategy a bit. I don't think any of them will take tyres, of course, but we'll have to see what the general consensus on the strategy is. But I dare say we'll see a train of cars coming in. Probably around the 20-minute mark, we'll see a good chunk of cars coming in, and then some others just going for some alternative strategies to make up position.
And we've certainly seen a few of these drivers take some very alternative strategies in the GT3 season, where in the last couple of rounds we even saw people taking pit stops on, I think it was about lap 3 was the earliest that we saw in amongst all of that. So, you know, I don't know if it'll be quite the same in the open wheelers and with the fuel tanks restricted in the way that they are. But hey, let's find out as we take a very quick look before race start at our top 10 with Hayden Calnan and Gowans up front as a result of their finish in race 1. Neil and Bartine on the second row, Lydon and Loretti rounding out those top 3 rows. Then we go through Tesoriero, Curry, McLaren, Pocock, rounding out the top 10 with Maloney just outside in 11th and could have had his pole, as you said. But I'm sure you'll make him pay for that one later.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's going to be some good racing here as drivers look to jump on the grid. See, you're going to got a couple of cars left. Looks like we've only got one or two possibly to go, and then we'll get those famous 5 red lights here for race numero 2. So drivers would have finalised their strategies, got their fuel tanks brimming as we get ready for the 5 red lights here for race 2. It's Suzuka round 1 here of the Super Formula Light season here in MC Motorsport, powered by MCSR, and we're away here. Reasonably even start. Let's go 5 wide again, they say. Gowans, though, not holding back on Kalman, and actually straight through into turn 1. That's an unfortunate one. Oh.
Well,
all right then.
That'll do it.
Okay, and Kalman followed Gowans there. That was a bit weird. I don't know if we're going to see a yellow here really early on. I hope for their sake we won't. I think we only saw the 2 of them off, so we might be okay.
It looks pretty clean for now, doesn't it? We might just
yeah,
get away
it
with
does.
this.
And is Bartine already in the lead?
He's already up into P1.
Wow,
what a start.
Yeah, I mean, I know he started P4, but that's well done, Bartine. That is an effort and a half. After the unfortunate race one that he had, he must have gotten past Neil really quickly and then just got fortunate with that incident of Gowans and Kalman coming up to the hairpin. Going to go 2 wide. I don't recommend that strategy either for that exact reason, and that's proving my point there, Jared. Don't do that.
No, that's Neil and Loretti who have managed to take each other out there, and unfortunate for them both. But as you say, that corner isn't really conducive to anything other than a single file format, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably a corner you want to be single file at if possible, unless you're going for maybe a dive to try and get something out of it. But that leaves Bartine with a healthy 1.8 second lead after not even a lap. That's certainly going to give him the confidence he needs after that race 1 incident with Gowans. Coming up to 130R though. We're going to go 2 wide. Let's not do that either. Oh yeah, single file. That's a bit better. Down to
that's the way, lads. They're learning.
Yeah, they're learning. That's good. That's exactly what we want. We'll see what kind of... Oh, a bit of a late... Oh, I was looking for a late dive there, but...
who's just spun? That's Tesoriero. It's just gone around there, unfortunately. And we'll see as he tries to rejoin in the background there if he can get back on track without finding himself too far down the grid. I tell you what, it's so easy to forget that you're still only on lap 1 with cold tyres when it's the second race of a round. And I suspect that's what's happened to a couple of these drivers here. Here we are.
We've missed something if there's a yellow safety car. So
I think it might just be that we've had enough incidents there that we need to just reset the pack. And we'll take a quick look back here as they make their way around. And of course that first incident, Matthew Neal just getting all sorts of caught up in that hairpin. And
that looked like netcode almost there.
Almost.
I don't think he was inside, but...
Yeah, look, I'm not convinced he was given the room. He probably should have been there. But the stewards will sort that one out, I am sure. And then not long after that, Loretti as well has found himself... sorry, that was Loretti involved in that incident as well. Sorry, Tesoriero. And apologies for butchering your name there, I'm sure. But he's just run out of grip into that chicane and... Well, maybe it's
just
the
lit
curb.
It up on the exit.
It's just the curb that's done it, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just lit it up a little bit too early on the exit after coming off the curb. It's just spun the car around, so that's a bit of an unfortunate one there for Tesoriero, but still, I mean, it's 35 minutes.
Great.
Yeah, no, there's not a whole lot of range in the steering wheel, but kept it nicely. Let's have a look again. And just didn't seem...
Yeah, it's really just the curb that's caught him, isn't it?
He's lit it up. I think he's actually lit it up on the curb a bit too much. So yeah, you have to keep that one in mind. We'll go back to the lovely pack that's under the safety car. All the flashing yellows around here at Suzuka. We will see the safety car come out. It's lovely up and down yellow lights. And Bartine... His 1.8 to 2 second lead disappears in the matter of half a lap, and that's definitely not what he was looking for. But I think he knows he's got the pace to just pull away from these guys. If he can get out and get Lydon out of the slipstream, I think he's just got that little bit extra pace to try and pull away, and he probably wants to look to, if I get my words out, try, maybe someone's just sent in the chat, Neil Haynes, suggesting will cars pit during the safety car and get to the end with fuel? I'm not sure they will, because I reckon if they were able to, they would probably pit and not lost much time. So yeah, we'll have to see. Well, good to know, Jared, we're getting Matt Tessiro's last name correct. This is good.
Oh, that's not bad at all. I don't feel quite so bad. I'm not a butcher for the evening. I appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sure we've butchered someone else's name.
Absolutely. And it'll be someone like Ian Ward. We've managed to butcher his surname, I'm sure, or something like that.
Oh yeah, there'll be one that we think's easy. Matt's just lucky
absolutely.
that I know somebody who's a Tessero that's spelt that way, or else I'd had no idea how to pronounce that.
There you go. No, look, it's an interesting start. I was going to say just before the safety car came out that Bartine would be feeling very comfortable knowing that he's out in front by that second and a half and then some in such an early place, because really, when you look at how convincing his drive was in that first race, the only reason that he didn't end up taking the win was getting caught up with another car. So if he can get himself back out in front again off the restart, then yeah, there might be no stopping him. I hadn't seen Bartine race before, but did jump into a session with him over the weekend, and not open wheelers. It was the rookie Legends cars, but the man has some incredible pace. And to be fair, I'm only comparing it to myself with no pace. But he is quick, so could be the one to watch for this season, as long as he can keep his nose clean on the restart and get himself back out to that healthy gap that he was playing with a little earlier.
Yeah, he's certainly going to want that, because he doesn't want to give that slipstream to the cars behind him. We can see Douglas Gowans is way back down the field after that early incident with Calnan. Try again. So that's an unfortunate one for him. I had him with the potential for a podium here, but that's all but been wiped away.
Yes, the procession behind the safety car. Look, it's always a great time to take a moment to check out some liveries, and I was promised big things from the ADHD racing team, and they don't disappoint. What the hell is this Lifesavers livery that they've put together?
A disgrace?
I don't know. Ryan Palmer, Josh Harris, you promised something special.
Yeah.
You've definitely delivered something special, but I don't quite know how to pronounce special to adequately.
No. No, I think did they get the template of the delivery and go, how many colours do we want to put on this? And they just went yes.
Yes. That is the correct approach to colours.
There wasn't a number. It was just yes.
Yes, I will take the colours. Yes, please. Yeah. But hey, it stands out, and there's no denying where ADHD Racing's entries are this evening. Now we do have a pit stop there in the background. Is that Hayden Calnan who's just come in and is taking the pit stop? So now, Hayden was one of the drivers I was alluding to earlier who had some pretty unusual pit stop strategies in the last couple of races of our GT3 season. So this could be more of the same as we see the safety car lights go out. So if he gets out of the pit lane quickly enough, and he's done it with a 7.1 second stop, no less, he'll be back on the tail end of this, and could, if everything stays clean from here, actually benefit from a stop 9 minutes into the race. That's a long stretch to try and make this fuel last, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm wondering what if oh god, English would be good. I'm wondering if what he's done is he's just replaced the fuel that he's lost in these first 10 minutes, and that will get him to the end. That's what I want to know, because if that's what he's done, that is genius. because
Yeah,
everyone else in front of him still has to pit. I'm not sure if that's what he's done, unless he's also banking on another safety car. That I don't know.
Yeah, and look, it wouldn't be something I'd put past him to be playing a very strategic game here, because we know he's got the capacity to do it. I mean, there's only so much fuel he can put in with a 50% tank restriction, right? So he's certainly not going to have filled it up a huge amount that's guaranteed to get him to the end. If he's trying to do it as a single stop strategy still, he's going to have to really fuel save here, which I guess we'll see in the first couple of laps, and just be able to compare some of his lap times as we do get back into it. Now we'll call out here, the safety car lights are off, so it'll be coming in on this lap, and we'll be back to racing. So here we go again, sports fans. We've had a couple of attempts and a couple of trials of the iRacing safety car here. It's good to see it working. Let's see if the drivers can maybe give him a bit of a rest for the next 30 minutes, but perhaps that's a little optimistic, being what we've seen so far in this race. I don't know, Mitch. What do you reckon? Another 3 laps? Can they make it through?
Yeah, look, I think they can. I think that they'll have learned their lesson, I hope, after those first few laps. And Bartine, I reckon, if he can get the right start, he should pull away from Liddon pretty quickly. Mitch Curry there. Not sure where he's going to sit at this point in time. He just probably needs to sit right on the back of Liddon and just keep an eye on what Bartine's doing, and maybe try and get a bit of a jump if he can. Pocock, we saw he won race 1 before. He's already up into 4th, so if he can keep the pace up, he's definitely a real threat to the drivers in front. Tom Maloney, great effort, up into P5 now. So he could be another threat to the drivers in front. Johnston's in there as well. McLaren has just snuck in there as well. Depp up in P8, which is a good solid effort from him as we watch the safety car come in, and Bartine takes control of the race.
And will he hold him off?
Time that he likes.
Will he hold him off like he did last time? Yeah. He's just going to get out early.
Yeah, he's got to go before the start-finish line. We do know that for a fact, so he might just look.
God, he's keeping it slow here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to wait. He's going to wait till the very last second. He's
there
gone.
He goes.
Oh, but that was bad. Liddon's. Oh my goodness! But Maloney was caught straight on. He's up into P3. Going to go too wide into turn 1. Around the outside, he's getting.
There it is.
And he's
Curry makes contact. Tom Maloney and Mitch Curry both go out onto the gravel there. That's unfortunate but not surprising. Yeah,
given the 2 wide into turn 1, I'm not overly shocked. It's a bit unfortunate for those two. It's going to be looking to be a good battle, but that's what Bartine was looking for. Is that he almost pulled out a second on Liddon. Pocock 1.1 behind Liddon, and Johnson's not too far off him in this little battle pack here with Depp and McLaren. Palmer's looking in on this as well, down to Degner 1. Nice and smooth down. Degner 2, you want to get on the power as soon as you can, get the best exit up to the hairpin, using all the track on the outside there. Got to keep in mind those off tracks as well. And Bartine makes that look easy. A couple of drivers might go for a little bit of a wider run to get the better exit. But all is forgiven. 2 wide coming at the exit.
All nice and clean back there. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, no, can't complain other than that turn 1 incident. It's been clean. Exit a spoon, another corner that really does I find a lot of the drivers' heads in. But up to 130, I don't go too wide down here, people. Don't recommend that either. Let's see how they go through here. Nicely done. Down to the Casio triangle. Oh, there's people trying to go too wide. Here we go. Don't do it into the Casio unless you're confident. Oh,
contact.
The wheel in there. Oh, he hit the curb. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Depp's gotten lucky there to not take himself out in the process. That was rough as ADHD Racing line up behind Tristan McLaren, and they're going 3 wide into turn 1. Oh,
I don't recommend.
It's not a great idea, honestly. It's not a great idea, but they've made it stick. They've made it work. Just hard in mouth stuff, isn't it? Just waiting for somebody here to put a foot wrong. But so far,
Yeah,
so
I'm waiting.
good.
Yeah,
And Bartine,
I'm waiting for somebody to send it. Oh no, someone just sent you a text message. Sorry, I got the
they,
wrong.
they
Got
did.
the wrong send it there down to the hairpin.
Lesson one for new players: make sure your phones are on silent. It's just like being in a cinema.
Yep. Oh yes, please turn your phones off or onto silent. That would be great. Andrew Liddon though is doing very well to hold off Pocock. He wants to probably try and push him into Johnston if he can. Bartine holding a nice lead here. 2 seconds back out to what he had before the safety car. So hopefully we don't see another one of those. Probably for his sake more than anything. But wouldn't mind a bit more content. Of course, the drivers do have to pit with Gerst. Ticked over 15 minutes into this race. So still plenty of the way to go. You've got probably around 12 laps left in this one. The drivers do have to pit, so it may even be 11 depending on the strategy. Liddon and Pocock here. Going to go 2 onto Casio. And Harris is looking for potential move into the triangle. Doesn't quite get it done here. And on the exit of the triangle, you want to get the best run you can. You want to use up the straight line speed, get that slipstream. And that is exactly what he's doing. He's got Fahy behind. Phillip, who's also looking in on this one. Nankervis isn't too far behind either. So there's a lot going on here. Ward side by side with Speck as well. There's a lot going on. Johnson too. There's just people going side by side everywhere. Turn 1. Oh, let's just hope they can keep it clean, and they do. Oh, don't go too wide through here, though. That's not a reasonable... Oh, let's do it anyway. Okay.
Because why not? They've proven they can do it once. Sure. I'm sure it can't go wrong the second time. It's no problem. Now, look, it is good to see, though, most of these drivers giving each other plenty of room through the corners. They know that everyone's just starting to get to grips with these cars, so just looking out for each other, which is always lovely to see. As who's that? It's Jake Rodriguez has just gone a bit wide here and gives Matthew Neal a nice easy run through, and he's going to struggle to hold that position as Alex Wilson passes him as well. Now, Alex Wilson famously made some very, very nice passing moves in our GT3 season, and good to see him back again for Super Formula Lights. But all in all, looking pretty clean. And Scott Bartine, I told you he was fast. Just absolutely smashing it. 2.4 seconds ahead now of Scott Pocock. He's making this race his own, and definitely wants to clean out all around him after the race 1 experience.
Yeah, definitely. And Pocock's not really catching, but if Pocock can just keep consistent, maybe get a good pit stop, if possible. 2 wide into Casio as well. There's battles going on absolutely everywhere. I'm going to stay on board here with Liddon for the minute because Depp is there. He's got Johnson ahead. Depp pulls out. I would have stayed in that slipstream if I was you. Don't go 3 wide into turn 1, though. That's not recommended. Oh, he was looking for 2 wide, though. Just backs off miles. He doesn't want to cause an incident with Johnston. And coming out of turn 2 towards turn 3, 4, and 5. And a little bit of a gap forming there. Johnson's going to try and pull away. Pocock holding the gap nicely. He's already pulled out 1.6 to Johnston's. You can just see Pocock up ahead there. You can't even see Bartine. He's that far ahead of this little pack. So strong performance so far from Bartine and Pocock. Liddon's doing well to keep in on this battle. We've got a couple of other cars behind as well. We might look in this one and might come into this a little bit later with the pit stop strategy that will have to come in, of course. So we'll see how it all plays out for the drivers who might pit early, who wants to pit later. Of course, the later you pit, potentially the less fuel you've got to put in. So I think that's the strategy that Callan was actually taking, is pitting early, replenishing the fuel that he'd lost, and then just going for it potentially to the end if he can make it, or if not, possibly banking on another safety car, which, look, I'm not going to put it past these drivers, are we?
No, absolutely not. We've certainly seen common usage so far. It's worth calling out when we look at the standings so far in terms of pit stops. Look, Hayden Kellman's not alone. Alex Wilson managed to sneak a stop in there as well, and also Bradley Hudson. Tristan McLaren's got a stop in there. Gowans has got 2 stops in there already, so I'd say one of them being an early bit of repair work. But Mitch Curry and Adrian Loretti both having made their stops, as Andrew Johnston sets a blistering fastest lap there, 150.3. Now Bartine is quick, but he's only managing a 150.4, and yet he's still holding that gap to Scott Pocock. So I've got to wonder if Andrew Johnston may just start getting a little frustrated being stuck behind Pocock and start to look at putting a move on. But for now, he's a second back and probably just watching mirrors with Lydon, not far behind at all, and challenging for P3 at this point. As we take a look a bit further back in the pack with Josh Harris holding up a whole train of drivers of Philippou, Nankervis, Ward, Speck, Wilson and Neil all right in behind him, all separated by only a couple of seconds for this group here. And it's a risky business with what we've seen so far, but everyone's still managing to hold us. Oh, a bit of a lock up on that front left.
Both drivers. Oh, that was Nankervis. I thought he got a bit deep and then he locked it, and Philippou also didn't have as near of an effect on his car, but he did also get a little bit of lock in there, but managed to get it pulled up nicely down to Spoon now. Another corner. You either love it or you hate it. Using all the track there nice and wide on the curb, which is what you want to do. Try and maximise the top end speed down towards 130. They've got the slipstream as well, so you might look for maybe some moves on the inside or outside. And down the inside we go. Let's see. Oh, it's still going to go too wide. These cars can race really close through a place like that. You wouldn't do that in a GT3 car. Bartine. Oh, dear.
And there it is.
And as I say, you can race really close. They're gonna pull the safety car out.
Yeah, we've got another one coming. You have to for that sort of track blockage. Surely, that's it's not what Ian Ward would have wanted to have happen there. But look, it's
got out of there cleanly. Maybe there's not going to be a safety car. I suspect coming into the pits. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, no front wing is going to want that. Now, a little bit of trivia for those who aren't aware. Ian Ward, setting some decent pace, 151, almost flat is his fastest lap. I should point out that, if I'm not mistaken, it's Ian Ward that races on a controller, not with a sim setup.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got some pace. He's got some pace.
Yeah, especially on a controller. That's a really solid effort from him. Back on board now with Liddon, just trying to chase down Johnston, who's trying to just chase down Pocock now. So Pocock's backed off with the pace a little bit, still keeping the gap reasonably consistent to Bartine, but I don't think anyone's going to match Bartine, are they?
No, he's just set a new fastest lap of 150.18. So as the fuel weight's coming out of that car, he's just getting quicker and quicker. And more to the point, I think he's actually probably one of the most consistent drivers in terms of his pace. Pocock and Johnston both have 150s under their belt as well. And Johnston's got a 150.2, Liddon's got a 150.4, near enough to it. But it's not going to be enough to catch Bartine. Short of a mistake, I'd say he's got himself pretty well sorted as we start to think about pit stops. Yeah, we're 23 minutes in. Some of these front 9 drivers who haven't actually made a stop yet, they're going to have to start thinking about it, and whether they're going to play an early stop or try and run it till it's absolutely bone dry before they come in, as we see Greg Bradley back in 5th, setting a 150.15 as a new best lap there. So the pace is lifting dramatically as the fuel weight comes out of these cars. But good to see the fastest laps being shared around through these top drivers. Gives me a whole lot of faith that this series is going to provide a nice mix of winners as we get through the season. Only a short one, mind you, 6 weeks. We'll be crowning our first Super Formula Lights champion. So not a huge number of races to get those points under their belts. And let's see how this one pans out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what a lot of these drivers are probably looking to do now is just run the tanks out, and then they'll fill up whatever is needed left for the rest of this race. Bartine's still going nicely, and they want to get a move, and they want to maximise those points, as you say, Jared, because they've only got, of course, 6 rounds. There's action-packed end to this year coming up in MC Motorsport. We've got this 6-week series, and then we have 8 weeks of GT3s to basically the end of the year. So that's going to be an exciting end to the year for a Season 2 in GT3s. Going to be quite exciting. All these series have been great so far to watch. As we look down the Casio comes Bartine. We'll see where he plays. He's staying out, so no need to come in yet. Maybe a couple of the drivers might look to come in now just to get a little bit of an alternate strategy in here. Nankervis is just currently fighting off Wilson as Johnston. 49.9. That's a great lap. The
Absolutely
really coming
blistering.
out of those cars. Oh, that was a late call there from Wilson to come
Just
to the pit.
wanted
I
to
don't
get some
blame
clean
him.
air, hey?
He wanted some clean air, and I think he's also coming to the pits with Josh Harris. So we'll see how it plays out for them. And yes, Kellman's actually gone in again, so interesting strategy from him, doing 2 pit stops. I like the thinking behind what he was doing, but I don't know how well it's going to play out for him with the end result, but we'll keep an eye in on that one. Nankervis has got some clean air at the moment, and a bit further up, they're of course still fighting, and Booman's fighting with Depp at the moment, but Depp has pit already, so that's not really something, not a driver he's got to be concerned about. Brian East here again, another driver that needs to pit, has quite a gap to Tesseriro in front, so nothing probably really under threat for any of the drivers here at this point. Once we get some more drivers through the pit lane, though, we should start to see those battles resuming probably in the next 5 minutes of this race.
Yeah, probably worth calling out, look, basically everyone from P14 back currently have at least a pit stop under their belt, including Jason Depp as the standalone up in P11. But everyone forward of that still yet to make their first stop. As we jump forward, as Pocock and Johnston going side by side, coming up to the chicane, this is risky, but they've settled it down a little, and they'll be keeping a close eye on Bartine ahead and see if he pits. Probably guided by him as they go for another lap. So really testing the limits of these half tanks that the cars are running. I'll be keen to see just how late we see the first pit stop. I wonder if anyone's going to try and push it down to those last 5 minutes.
Well, it depends how far they can push those fuel tanks. I don't think they'll be able to go 35 minutes on the tank, and they might be able to, and they can prove me wrong. Too wide into the Casio. Let's not do this again, people. And down Josh Harris fighting with Wilson. So interesting that Wilson's actually overtaken Harris in the pits. Maybe Wilson's taken on a bit less fuel. He's done maybe some better calculations. Robillard's come into the pits as well, as these drivers both jump past him. And we can see a bit further up on the track, Palmer's actually fighting with Gowans at the moment. There's a nice little battle going on here, and they're all sort of in this little battle of 3. Booman hasn't pit though, so I don't think Gowans or Palmer need to worry too much. They're probably just loving getting the slipstream from him, so they'll have to keep in here. They won't be using as much fuel in the slipstream, of course, down to Degner 1. And a little bit of an interesting line there from Booman, just trying to maybe optimise getting a better exit if possible. To the hairpin they go, using all the track on the outside exit of Degner 2 there. So maybe some small little taxis trying to get every
contact there.
Or maybe I didn't quite see anything. Oh, just a little bit. Gowan's trying to come across on Palmer to try and look maybe for a move on Boomer, but I don't think he's going to get anything done here.
Jeez, that's pushing hard to get past, isn't it? Gowans goes through.
He lets them go. I think that's the fair call. He knows they've pit, although he's actually blocking Tristan McLaren now, who has made a pit stop. So I reckon he might get out of his way as well, maybe up to 130R, or he maybe even come to the pits this lap just to get some more fuel on board that car.
I'll tell you what, plenty of battles keeping us busy here, but we'll stick with this one for the moment because 4 cars this close together into the chicane. Oh, a big lock up there. That was a huge slide. Did well to catch it. And there we go. He's cooked to the tyres.
Tyres up.
Yep. That's unfortunate.
Oh, it's like Gowans in the pit again.
Heads on into the pit again. That'll be his 3rd stop. So that's a... I can't come up with a strategy that'd explain that one, but
no, it didn't put enough fuel in the last pit stop.
Yeah,
maybe
might have.
maybe the drivers were banking on another safety car. That could be possible.
And look, there's still plenty of time. We're coming down to the last 10 minutes
Yeah.
of this second race, and we know anything can happen. So, looking through the pack, though, a good bit of distance between each of probably the top 10 drivers, all fairly well spaced out, with the occasional battle like this between Brian East and Jason Depp for P8, and Johnston and Pocock still going at it up in P2 and P3. So they're not nose to tail. There's a bit of space there, but they're just hanging in there and probably waiting to see who blinks first on the fuel at this stage, as Bartine comes around for what will be lap number 15 as he heads into the pits. So here we go. Let's see who follows him through.
Johnston will follow.
There we go.
Everyone.
1, 2, 3, 4. So
Not
the
quite.
pit timers
Ooh.
are on. Yeah, Bradley takes advantage and goes to enjoy some clean air up front. Let's
Maybe
keep a close eye on these times.
Maybe save some fuel there. I reckon Bartine's at the end of his 50% limited fuel tank, and that was really fast. He doesn't need much
4.1
fuel at all,
seconds,
this car. Yeah,
straight
great.
out. Really quick stop, and if we look at the gents behind him, 5 flat, 4.7, 5.3 and 4.4. So Bartine, not only is he quick on track, he's quick in the pits as well, gaining almost a second over most of those drivers just by managing his fuel well. So 9 minutes to go. If he can hold it together, chase down Bradley, who still hasn't pit, so he's got to be getting very close to the limits of his fuel. I reckon Bartine will be back in front in no time. We've now got everyone in the field having pit, with the exception of Bradley and Brian East. So let's wait and see.
Yeah, of course. Still 8.5 minutes left here. Anything can happen. Bradley, I reckon, is going to come into the pits, I dare say, this lap. So we'll see that come up and down through Spoon he comes. No real movement of the car. So I think he's kept the tyres in check nicely. Bartine not that far behind, only just under 16 seconds behind. And I think a pit stop's a little bit more than that. I think it's around the 24 mark. So Bartine should easily inherit the lead here again, and that will stick Bradley probably just inside the top 10, probably around 7th, 8th, something like that. So we'll see maybe him coming to the pits now, and we do. So he will take his last bit of fuel that he needs, and we'll see Bartine come round onto the straight and past Bradley, I dare say, any moment now. And we'll see where he comes through. We'll see that lovely super Formula light, and there goes Bartine. Not actually as far behind Bradley as I thought he would have come out, and he's come out P4, so that's a really good effort. I thought he was going to come a bit further out, but that was a real solid effort from him there. Good strategies. Not looking likely for a podium unless he can pull out a good good amount of pace with the low fuel, but maybe you never know what happens.
Yeah, and look, even if he doesn't pull a podium, can't be disappointed with 4th, considering that we haven't really seen a great deal of him this race. He's just been consistently plugging away back there, notching some really quick laps here and there, and he's kept himself in amongst it. So if he can keep it clean for the next 6.5 minutes or thereabouts, he's going to secure some really good points to start off the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be some nice solid points. Mitch Curry's got a couple of cars behind Maloney and Philippou, looking in on a battle here. Hopefully we don't see Curry and Maloney come together again, like we saw earlier in this race. Yeah, once is enough. Not second time's a charm, and definitely not third time's a charm. Let's not even go there. Bartine's got a healthy lead, though, 2.3 over Johnson. Pocock looking to maybe try and get a move done here with 6 minutes to go. Bradley's not really anywhere. He's got Liddon behind, who's a bigger threat. He's sort of in his own little bubble at the moment. 1.1 to Liddon's got 3.3 to Depp behind, so no real concern there. All the drivers have taken at least one pit stop now. A couple actually have taken 2 because of an early strategy choice that they've made, which is actually probably ruined their races a little bit. They could have been a little bit further up. Some big battles going on. Hudson on Philippou, Curry on East, and then you got Nankervis and Tesseriro. So good few couple of battles. Liddon's a little bit further behind compared to the other battles on track. McLaren's getting on to Palmer as well. Let's have a look at what Philippou's going to do here on Hudson. Oh, he's just going to sit there. I reckon he's going to wait for the Casio. Maybe look for a dive down the inside. Philippou tries to look. Hudson's
Good
covering him off.
defensive line there, yeah. Well chosen. He's held that very well. Because, that was very threatening from Philippou. But still the main straight to go, and if he recovers it here, there's always turn 1 and 2 to have a crack, maybe even around the outside. As Hudson again takes a defensive line.
I reckon he might have given that one to Philippou there, and does. I think he was looking for the alternative line, but gets through. Neil Haynes asking the question, where's Hayden Kalman? Currently P15 with the alternate strategy that Jared was talking about earlier. He does love his alternate strategies. So he's in a little bit of a slipstream here of Robillard. So we'll see maybe if he can get a position up. We'll see Mitch Curry behind us. Oh, and that's wide for Robillard. That's not where you want to be, and I think that might be my fault.
Look, I'm not saying it's definitely your fault, but he was doing fine
but
until
it was
we
my
were
fault.
talking about him, I suppose.
Yeah.
But good news for Hayden Kalman. Brings him through to P14. So, unfortunately, Neil, that alternative strategy for Kalman not really paying off in the same way he was probably hoping for.
Yeah, I think he had the right idea. I think he was sort of banking on a safety car, but I don't think that's really played out for him here. Palmer is looking to defend from McLaren. It's doing so nicely, but I don't think there's anything untoward there. And McLaren just looking probably back for the slipstream. 3.5 minutes to go here. Bartine's got a healthy lead, 3.7 over Pocock. Johnson's not too far behind Pocock, though. Bradley, nor is he. So some good little battle packs for me.
Take a quick look back here. Pocock's actually gone past Andrew Johnston while we were checking that out, and it looks like Johnston's made a pretty big mistake for that to happen. I just want to have a quick look at this.
Has he lit it up on the exit of
he may
the
have.
Casio?
There
Yes,
it
he
is,
has.
Yes. Yep, that's what's done it. So, gotten very loose through there. That's not ideal for him, but it's given Scott Pocock P2, and now Andrew Johnston has all the work to do to try and wrest that control of position back.
Yeah, absolutely. Some going to be a good points haul for Pocock as we see McLaren and Palmer going at it again. Palmer didn't get the exit he was looking for. With McLaren, they're going to go side by side down towards Spoon. Oh, just getting a little bit argy-bargy potentially. And Palmer's trying to cover off McLaren, but I smell a dive. Oh, McLaren played the safe game there. Maybe he's looking for a last-ditch effort on the final lap, potentially, if he's just going to sneak in here. Maybe the end of 130R. He's got Wilson behind as well, who could look to capitalise on something here. Can't guarantee that, though. We'll see what plays out here. Oh, side by side through 130R. Palmer goes around the outside. McLaren. Oh, they're getting a little bit argy-bargy again, down to the Casio. That's good from Palmer there. Just a bit touch and go there, just cut off McLaren there. I don't think it was anything untoward, nothing malicious, just probably didn't quite get it pulled up as nicely as he wanted to get the better line, but it's a solid effort.
Meanwhile, Alexander Wilson just sneaking into the background and having a little bit of a peek down the inside of turn 1 there. I thought he might have had the drive onto the main straight to actually take that place off Tristan McLaren, but didn't quite get the speed out of the corner he was looking for. He certainly caught up on these guys, and he'd do well to just sit and wait for them to make a mistake while they're battling between each other. As we see Josh Harris dropping down the order, I'm wondering if he might have had a bit of a spin. We'll take a look back at that in just a second.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate one for Harris, dropping back a little bit. He's in his own little bubble again. Let's see what happens. down towards the hairpin now. Oh.
Jeez, I tell you what, mate, you're not a fan of this hairpin, are you? It's a
No, I
scary
don't.
one.
It is. I don't like it. I've never liked it very much in any game, let alone iRacing. And they're going to get argy-bargy again down into speed. This is what happened last time, and McLaren looked for the inside, and again, just sticks the nose in to let him know he's there. I think this is probably a good position for McLaren. They're going to have one lap left. Let's see how it plays out for them. See when they come across the line where they're at. McLaren down the inside again, a 130R. Does pull past, but we saw Palmer before went back to the inside. Wilson is just looking for something. And Palmer, oh my gosh, he got close to McLaren there. That's a great move there from McLaren. Coming through to the final lap now. And this is going to be one hell of a shootout on this final lap. Oh, getting a little bit sideways. Doing a little bit of weaving. Wilson's going to make it 3 wide down the straight. Oh, boys, don't do this. This isn't going to end well. It's going to end in tears. Oh, and Palmer does the right thing and backs out because he saw Wilson and, McLaren almost came together there. Made a bit of a kiss on the wheel.
Did not want to be the meat in that particular sandwich, did he? Good choice.
No, he didn't. And that was a wise choice. That's a very rainbow piece of meat in that sandwich.
Isn't it just? Bit of mystery meat in the sandwich.
Ooh, I don't know if I want any mystery meat in the sandwich.
Let's have a look ahead though. Scott Bartine, he's got it all to do just to hold it together here, but still holding on to a 2.3 second gap to P2. He's had an amazing drive here, given himself the space, and barring any unfortunate commentator hexes that we might put on him here, look, I think the less said the better at this point, really, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, he had an unfortunate race one, got back up to P7, which put him in a prime position to look for even a podium, let alone a win in race 2, and he's held it very nicely down towards 130R. He goes, and to complete the final lap and the 21st lap of the 20th, lap here at Suzuka, and he's going to do it nicely done. 1.8 across the line, wanted to keep it safe towards the finish line, and he pulls it off here. Scott Bartine, P1 in race 2. Scott Pocock is actually P2, so he's a good points haul for him after the win in race 1. Johnson, nice solid effort, not too far off him. Bradley at Fahy as well. Liddon, nice. Tesseriro just adjusting positions, swapping positions with Wilson on the final lap there. Nankovas looking in as well. So some solid finishing and some burnouts are being done by Bartine. Definitely deserved that win after the unfortunate race 1 luck that he had coming together with Gowans, and lights those tyres up. And I mean, what a race. That was 2 very solid races, a couple of incidents and some safety cars, but you can't complain about that.
No, absolutely not. I think for a season opener, geez, there's a lot of pressure on the rest of the races in this season to give us some results as exciting as tonight. We've seen it all, haven't we? A couple of really big incidents that have caused issues for the whole pack, and we've seen plenty of use of the safety car. But all in all, a really great first night of racing. So that'll be race 2. I apologise, not race 1. Let's try that again. There we go. So our results for race 2, Scott Bartine taking out top spot after an absolute masterclass of a drive there. Pocock and Johnston getting it done in 2nd and 3rd, with Bradley a well-deserved, if quietly achieved, 4th place there. So well done, Greg, well done. Darren Fahy coming in 5th with Lydon just behind him. Jason Depp in the number 75 Velocity Racing Team entry, just ahead of Tristan McLaren, Ryan Palmer and Alexander Wilson, rounding out the top 10 for race number 2. A bit further back in the field, Tesserero taking out 11 with Nankovas and Kalman behind, Robillard, Ward, Gowans and Maloney. The other ADHD Racing entry of Josh Harris back in 18th place, with Luke Speck and Nathan Bowman rounding out the 20. Chris Philippou and Mitch Curry back in 22nd, which he'll be pretty disappointed with after some pretty good showings throughout. But then Bradley Hudson, Matthew Neal, Brian East, Loretti and Philo rounding out the 27 entries for tonight's race. So what do you reckon, Mitch? One of your first evenings checking out the iRacing scene here. Any thoughts that you'd like to share before we call it a night?
Well, there's no holds barred, really, is there? People just absolutely go for it, and they want all the points they can get. They know it's a short series, only 6 rounds, and 2 races to get some nice points up their sleeve. So hopefully they'll look to take those opportunities. Of course, next week for round 2 at Portimao, that's going to be another great one to watch with a bit more elevation change again, and a nice twisty and flowing circuit. Can't wait to see how that goes and how it goes for the rest of this season.
Yeah, plenty ahead of us, that's for sure. So we take a look ahead. We've got another couple of races on each Monday night here. Don't forget as well, we do have Thursday night. Just a bit of a side league going on with the 86s as well, so keep an eye out for that. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do, to make sure you get notifications when we are getting set up to go racing again. But otherwise, mate, I think we'll call it there. It's been a pleasure having you along, Mitch, and looking forward to your company again next week. But otherwise,
thank you. Look forward to next week.
Yeah, look. Otherwise, it's goodbye for now, and thank you again to all of the drivers and all of the spectators this evening for making the start of our Super Formula Light season such a positive one here at Suzuka. Until next week, I'm Jared Cole, and this has been MC Motorsport presented by MCSR. I look forward to catching you all again very soon. Bye bye for now.